come down that week, and then we'll see. And then, of course, if I like it, you guys at that point, then we can vet it. Go about trying to put something together if we're going to do something or not. But at least I think we need to get to that point.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Another property we have is more of it's more of an estate property, but it's 204 acres and it's 18,000 square foot, mansion basically. Well, we'll send you the info on it as well. And if you want,
me the info, and maybe we'll do a 2-day trip.
Yeah.
Let's do that. That sounds good. I like that. And I can go see the gravel pit, and then I can see the other property. I think that's smart. I'm glad you brought that up.
Holy cow.
Let's go.
Nice work.
This buyer wanted only $2 million worth of real estate in a home. We closed him to look at $22 million worth of deals. No hard sell, no bait and switch, just one simple shift changed everything. Here's how it happened.
Kyle, he's here with me, and he's been using a system to help buyers that are, contingent on the sale of their property when they're looking to purchase other properties. Kyle, you want to just give them a quick rundown on that?
Yeah. This is right.
That's right. You can call me either.
Sounds famous.
I don't know about that.
Infamous. I love it. Awesome, man. All right.
Nice to meet you, bro.
Pleasure to meet you. Pleasure. Awesome. So tell me, it sounds like you really like Robin's property, the 80 acres that we have out there. It is pretty prestige in that valley. But tell me kind of what your goals are, and give me the full 30,000 foot view. Landry did as well, but just so I don't miss anything.
Well, I'd like to get down there. I'm looking for a property that has what that property has.
Yeah.
And I travel in the western states. I work and I have businesses. We do work. Done work in Colorado. I work construction and mining businesses, and I live in Sandy by Little Cottonwood. They have a house up here that I'm not ready to put on the market. I've been living in for a couple of years.
Okay, nice. Just out of curiosity, what type of business and mineral work?
Oh, we do mining. We do mining work. We do custom mining. We have, and then we also do. We develop properties. We buy properties, and we also build homes and anything construction. We have a swimming pool business that we operate. But so we got our hands in a few things. But what I've been wanting to do is liquidate, get out of this house, and then buy a couple of properties. And I've been trying to identify something, and I'm curious on that property on a few things. Number one, the water shares.
Yep.
And then what's the zoning? I understand that there's elk down there. I really want to see the property and walk the boundary.
Yeah.
So I understand that. And I would like to do that. But we'll be listing the property here within a month.
Yeah.
I anticipate 6 months.
Sure.
Depending on what happens. So anything I do would be contingent on something like that. I mean, we could sit back. My house can go on the market. I don't, need to necessarily tie these guys up. I don't want to stranglehold them.
Sure.
It doesn't pan out. But, if I got down there and liked the property and, we made some type of offer that was contingent and that allowed them to still market their property, I wouldn't have a problem with that if they could do a deal somewhat like that.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So as far as the property goes, the 81 acres, 0.44, it's got 15 shares of irrigable acres. It's got
15 shares.
Yes, sir.
What's the irrigation company?
It is coming from the Maverick ditch.
Okay. Did they have the actual water share certificates?
Yeah, we do. We can get that to you. No issue.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll have Landry send that to you. As far as mineral rights, it doesn't have mineral rights, but it does have 2 natural springs on it, or 3 actually.
That's wonderful. Where are the springs located?
So the springs are across the valley, kind of sitting on the hill. They truly are natural. So I think only 1 is recorded. The other 2 are not.
So they're like artesian wells. They're just coming out with a little bit of just bubbling out of the ground?
They're just bubbling out of the ground. I mean, you could probably make them into something pretty special if you wanted to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have they ever tested that water or anything?
Not that I'm aware of. They honestly,
They have the well water.
they have the well water tested, but not the springs or anything like that.
And then do you have the one that's registered? Does it have? It's got all that information registered with the state. Can you get that for me so I can see what it is? I imagine it's got like the flow and what's coming out. I don't know how they do that in Colorado per se.
Yeah, we can get that to you.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, now there's two. I'm sorry. Anyhow, you were going along there.
Yeah, yeah. And then as far as like walking the property, that would be the best, thing to do is to walk the entire fence line. And it's got all the animals you'd want on there. Everything from, the bear to the elk to the deer. It's a pretty little corridor right there. So especially with all the water running through it.
What's the surrounding community like?
That's a great question.
Is it mostly 80-acre plots, or is it bigger plots? What are my neighbors like?
Yeah, they're 40 acres and then higher, 40 acres and higher. So your exact neighbors are hundreds of acres.
How many? Do you know how many are there? People that a lot of different people, or are there several people that own quite a bit of the land? Or
There's one
I'm just curious about that. I guess I can get online and do my own research.
Sure. Yeah, there's one family that has a pretty big homestead there, and I believe they were trying to sell it at one point, but they never moved forward with that. So
They're holding on to it.
well, I don't know. Maybe they just never sold it. We can definitely reach out to them to see if. I mean, are you interested in really big pieces of
Well, right
land?
now we just stay focused on this, and we don't need to confuse it. I don't need to get anybody else involved right now. We can do something on this first, and then go from there. But yeah, there could be a possibility. So what's the zoning like? What is it? How's the taxes? Out here we do Greenbelt.
Yeah. So
there's two houses there. What's the taxable rate annually on that? Do you know what they've been paying on taxes?
yeah, they've been paying their taxes. Let me see here. So their total taxes is only $1,834.40
A year.
a year. Yes, sir.
Jeepers creepers, that's amazing, huh?
Yeah. You guys don't get that where you're at, huh?
No, I paid $19,000 for my property.
Yeah.
What's the limitations on housing?
Yeah, so there's two houses there. I believe you could add. There's another building envelope that you could add. Technically, I think you could add another two, but I know you can add one for sure, and then also like a barn or something like that if you wanted to, store horses or cows or cars.
I really like the zoning, so I can see what it is.
I believe the zoning's agricultural.
Ag-res.
It's agricultural.
Yeah, it's ag res. Yep.
So I can do whatever I want there.
Essentially.
Okay, now the pasture. How much of the 81 acres is down in that pasture where the creek is? Is that creek kind of in the center of the property?
It is center. So if you're looking out, I would say, I guess of the entire property, yes. From the house, it's like a little bit farther towards the edge of what's the right word for that? I mean, there's like a little it's like a hill, and so I feel like it's a little bit closer to the hill versus closer to the house.
But from the houses, you can see that whole pasture area.
Oh yeah.
How much do you think of the acreage is down in that pasture?
At least what?
Probably
20?
60.
You think 60 of it?
I think, yeah.
Landry knows land better than I do. He said 60.
The majority of it, 2/3 of it?
Yeah, at least, yeah.
And then what? Then you come up into those trees, and you got a little bit of area up on the one side, on the hillside of the trees, and then you come up over where the houses are, up into on the knoll and in the trees there.
Yeah.
And then the majority, about 70% of it, or 66% of it's down in the pasture.
Yeah, I would say about 60 to 50%.
So right now you got there's some lease tell me about this. Some guys running cattle through all that, or what?
Yeah, he's got a. They have a neighbor that just runs a lease that helps with the ag status. They get a little bit payment on it, so and they got the water, so that's what's the appealing piece.
And they got what? I'm sorry, say that.
The water.
What about the water?
No, they just have the water, so it's nice for the for the cows.
What happens to that neighbor if I don't renew the lease
Nothing.
and I don't allow him on my property?
No issues. He's got lots of land.
Oh, so he's got other places to get water. But
Yeah.
this is an ideal place for cattle.
Yeah, totally.
So what about a little elk herd?
Resident herd.
Yeah, Landry will talk about that.
Yeah, so you're in a good corridor there. The Uncompahgre Plateau is to the north, and then you got hundreds of thousands of contiguous national forest land to the south, and and to the east, and BLM to the west. So yeah, they winter down in that area, but there's a resident portion, mainly cows, that stay on that property. I mean, in that area at least, they're on the property daily, so they don't move.
So what about there it's BLM National Forest land that abuts this property?
It doesn't directly abut, no, but you have.
They're abutted by all private.
Yes.
Okay. How close are we to that land?
That's a good question. You're not too far on the, let's see, like the north side. I think that closest access might be a few miles away. On the south side, you have to cross a gorge, and I haven't been over that way, so I don't know. But I know that there's huge trail systems going through all of that. So.
Okay, well that sounds great. You guys have answered a lot of my questions. So I'm going to be gone. I'm traveling a little bit right now. I'm going to be up in the area this weekend, and then on Tuesday I'm going the rest of the week. So I won't be back until not this weekend, but the following weekend, and then that week I could come down.
Not this weekend, but the following weekend.
Yeah, not over the weekend. I'd come down during the week. I'd just take a day. I'd get up early and just drive down.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, RW.
And then meet with you guys down there somewhere in the afternoon, early afternoon, or whoever was going to meet with me.
Yeah, that definitely works.
And then I could take all the time I needed and then find a place to stay or stay somewhere and come home that night and get it all done in one day.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So you guys pick a time. I'm good. I probably won't want to Monday because I'll be coming back. I think maybe a Tuesday or a Wednesday. If you guys want to reach back out to me on Monday, and then
the Monday you get back, so not this coming Monday, but the following Monday.
Correct.
Okay. So that would be the 12th. Yeah, that works.
And then I'll come down that week, and then we'll see. And then of course if I like it, you guys at that point, then we can vet it. Go about trying to put something together if we're going to do something or not. But at least I think we need to get to that point. Yeah,
no, that makes sense. And I have a few questions in regards to and just based on what you were kind of telling me. We have and Landry can send you the info, but we have a few properties I think you might be interested in. One being a gravel pit.
Very interested in that.
Okay. Landry will send you all the detail on that. It's right outside of Durango in a town called Mancos.
I know where that is.
Yep. And then another property we have is more of it's more of an estate property, but it's 204 acres and it's 18,000 square foot, mansion basically. It's got it's connected to a gentleman. He's got a property it's basically his guest house, but he has a private ranch or private elk
high fence
elk operation there. Sounds like you guys might be good neighbors.
I'd like to see that just to see it. How close is that to this location?
You're probably it's between Durango and Pagosa, so you're probably
almost to Pagosa Springs, huh?
Yeah, it's right in the middle almost.
Wow, I love that area.
If you wanted to make it a 2-day trip, we'll send you the info on it as well. And if you
Give
want,
me the info and maybe we'll do a 2-day trip.
yeah.
Let's do that. That sounds good. I like that. And I can go see the gravel pit, and then I can see the other property. I think that's smart. I'm glad you brought that up.
Perfect. One more thing, RW, for your property in you said it's not in Salt Lake. Where is it at? Okay, yeah.
I'm a big time skier. I love to ski.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so I built the place.
That's what I figured when Landry showed me the pictures. Yeah, he said he built. Yeah. Anyways, he's like, oh, it looks like it was he bought it from a builder. I was like, he probably built it.
Yeah, I built it, but right now it's what I'm a partner on it. But I've got about $4 million when it sells. I think we can get it sold. I've got somebody working on it.
Nice.
So I need to figure out what to do with that.
Yeah. One question I had, we have a group of investors and they kind of structure deals pretty uniquely, but they'll come in and they'll give you 60 to 80% of your equity so that you can move on to the next thing.
Okay.
And then from there, you get the rest of your equity when it resells. So
that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. Okay. We'll run it up the pipeline. They'll write on up to 3 million in our market, or at least in the Durango market, Southwest Colorado. When you get up to Telluride and some of the other areas, they'll do a little bit more. So I'm guessing where you're at, they may get up to that amount. But either way, we'll put it in front of them and let you know if it's a thing.
All right. You know my address?
I'm not quite sure.
What's
the right one?
What's the exact address?
We built a place. It's got a little parlor behind the garage. It's all radiant heat. It's got a lot of covered living space. We're only 8 miles, like I said, from the resorts, and it's got 6 bedrooms, and they're like in suites. So like the rooms all have their own bathrooms, and I think there's 9 bathrooms in the house.
Nice.
It's a mini mansion. It's a nice place.
Yeah. What's the total square footage and bedroom?
I think that it's around 9,000, and then it's got like a 5-car garage, and then it's got open living space. It's covered. Outdoor living covered space is like 1,200. It's got some nice features to it.
Nice.
It's got a swimming pool, stuff like that.
Cool. And how many bedrooms and bathrooms? You said 9 baths.
It's 9 bathrooms. It's 6 bedrooms and a 1,600 square foot apartment.
All right, got it.
And it's 9 bathrooms. 9 bathrooms. Excuse me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got that info. We'll go ahead and put it in front of them, see what they say, and see if there's anything from there. And then
either way, it doesn't matter. It's not like that's a big deal. What we do, I'm looking forward anyhow. I'll figure out what's meant to be will be. But let's work on our game plan, and we'll plan on seeing if we go for a 2-day. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for calling back, and thanks for getting me in touch and getting me all this information.
Perfect. All right, Landry will send you that email, and I'll be CC'd on it, and we can answer any questions you got.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yes, sir. We'll talk soon.
All right. Yeah.
Bye.
Want buyers who think bigger and spend bigger? I'll give you the exact framework I use to 10x this deal, and it works even if they say, hey, we're just looking, we're not really interested. Click the link, get the script, and start selling like a pro. Let's go. Freedom Funnel.